So what was the Star Wars thing you were saying you were wanting to...
Well, my idea was basically...
Ask you loads of questions about Star Wars.
And I know what the answer's going to be because we're all older.
Old.
Or is, or why. Probably more why. Why is the new Star Wars not as good as the original Star Wars? And I'm not talking prequels, I'm talking the original trilogy versus the new trilogy.
Right. Well, I know, that's a really good question as well, isn't it?
Have you seen The Mandalorian?
No.
No, okay.
You know, got Disney Plus?
I was thinking that there's something to do with charisma in the actors and the storytelling or something. I mean, I just don't think they found the actors that could match.
I disagree with that one.
I'm particularly thinking about like what Harrison Ford brought to the original three.
Yeah.
You know, a kind of recognisable person that you kind of... I mean, Mark Hamill is not the world's greatest actor.
Well,
but I don't know, really. It's too tough to...
For me, right, I've been thinking about it probably too long and overly. But for me, you know, George Lucas did the first trilogy. He said he had a plan. He didn't have a plan, right? It was meant to be... He wrote he took out the original Star Wars A New Hope, which was just called Star Wars at the time.
Yep.
But he had a backstory, which I think you write plays, you have a backstory for characters and things like that. So he said they had the backstory, which he padded out for the prequels.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think any of the rest was planned particularly. And then he brought in Irvin Kershner to direct Empire Strikes Back. Lawrence Kasdan did the script, who's brilliant. Empire Strikes Back was fantastic, and then it was a follow-on. But there was one thread through that, and it was George Lucas. He was the thread through the whole thing. Flash forward to the new trilogy, and they bring in these new great actors. I think the actors were great. I think they're just badly used. I think JJ should have had the control of the whole thing. George should have been there, as I think he probably was to a certain extent, and they should have had JJ's idea, and there should have been an overarching, this is the story, this is where we want to be, this is where we want to get to.
Yeah, you are slightly forgetting that George Lucas had got himself into trouble with all this with the other three that dare not mention their name.
Yeah, I'm not mentioning them, so I'm not mentioning them.
George Lucas was taking full credit for them, and he should take full blame for it. So
I know, but I'm not mentioning them because.
Do you think it's hard because, like, they've seen the original ones? They all had one quite simple goal. You know, get in the Death Star, blow it up. It's a job that we can all kind of get on. Whereas the other ones have to deal with the universe and all the mythology and all the almost like religious aspects of it all, and have to tie it all up. It's a lot of work to do.
It's a hard one to go for.
It really is.
But the big... have you seen them all, Douglas, now? Have you seen all three, the new ones?
Mm-hmm.
The big one for me was JJ set up, you know, the thing, the characters, set it up in Force Awakens. Rian Johnson took that and threw everything out the window. Wait a minute. He threw everything out the window, you know, which he maybe thought was being a twist or a turn or whatever, but it was actually a total disservice to what had been set up.
Terrible film, I think, that movie.
And then also he threw out the whole everything that was set up with George Lucas as well. Mm-hmm. You know, Luke Skywalker, the way he was treated, throwing the lightsaber over the shoulder as a cheap gag.
Mm-hmm.
The story went nowhere. Never took him to, you know, didn't move the story forward. And then we came to Rise of Skywalker. So JJ was left with this. He's like, Christ, I've been backed into a corner here.
Yeah.
I had this idea where I thought this was going. Rian Johnson's did a detour away to bloody Battlestar Galactica. And where the hell am I now? So he had to make something out of the mess that was left by Rian Johnson. That's the way I see it.
So I don't think J.J. Abrams is that great. He's a fantastic director. Don't get me wrong. The man can direct every bit as well as the next man. However, as far as writing is concerned, or like grand visionary or
I
something
don't
like
think
that.
he understood the material.
I don't think he did. The same thing could be leveled at his understanding quote unquote of Star Trek. It's the new Star Trek to me is as if somebody has described Star Trek to someone else, and they've described it to someone else, and then they've described it to J.J. Abrams. And he's got, so there's this guy called Kirk, and he's pals with this guy called Spock, is it? All right, we'll have them running about shooting at things.
No,
That'll be
Sloan,
great.
I'm saying Ryan Johnson doesn't understand the material, not JJ. JJ did understand it.
I don't think he does. I think that's the problem, is that he turns it into an action movie. Like everything he does, he turns into an action movie. Like
see, when Star Wars did the same thing. All of them, they'll take them all. See, when it starts being an action movie, it always falls flat. When you get a sequence, you know, that either it's and especially those, the ones that dare not speak their name, when we're just watching some kind of... Star Wars is always better when it's people in a situation trying to get somewhere, sneaking through and, like, you know, and then a fight rather than an action sequence. Yeah. It's always been better like that. But I mean, I thought that second one, I tell you what they did, what was so great about The Force Awakens was they just decided to go all in on the look. So it just looked the same sets, and they cast the same type of actors, all those British TV actors that weren't that great looking, you know, because that's who would have been in the original Star Wars.
It was a soft reboot.
Yeah. Really. Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah. Again,
which I didn't mind. I kind of, before I went into it, I thought to myself, if the worst thing that they can say about it is it's a kind of bit of a reboot, I call it a soft reboot now because it's not exactly the same, but it's you know, got the same kind of tropes and the same you know themes and things like that in it. I thought that's fine. I'm cool with that.
Did you see the South Park episode when they were talking about J.J. Abrams? He'd been hired to do a new national anthem for America.
Yeah.
And they unveil it, and it's exactly the same. It Stars and Stripes Forever. And everyone's like, "Oh my God, he's a genius! Yeah. It's completely reimagined for the modern world." It's like it's the same thing. It's not from the same song.
Have you ever seen somebody write out the synopsis for Force Awakens and the synopsis for Star Wars?
Yeah,
it's like teenage kid alone in
abandoned on a desert planet,
meets up with, you know, blah blah blah. It's like exactly the same.
It's the exact same thing.
It's the exact same way.
I would be amazed if they didn't. I reckon somebody will have done that. I think they'll have said, let's just go to the basics and tell it again, but different. You know. But what you get is that you have to tie up these massive big things. So whenever these movies have to tie something gigantic up, you're left going, what? But that right at the end, that bit with all the Siths that were in that kind of cathedral thing. You're like, where are they? Who are they? What's that? Didn't we get rid of? You know, it's like a Sith conference.
Why have they not battered in?
Hi, my name's Darth. My name's Darth.
Yeah.
Oh, my name's Darth too. How do you do?
Yeah. What about the guy, the Siths that were in the the Siths that were in the toilet having a slash when this all happened? What happened to them? They still going? You know? Hey, wait a minute, where did they go? What happened?
See, are them though? Were they not just all clones of him?
I didn't understand that.
No, apparently they were the Sith that exist. They were Sith ghosts.
That got
apparently.
Away.
No,
the Sith that got away.
Because it was supposed to be this
comedy. Now
apparently it was supposed to be this big battle between Sith ghosts and Force, like proper good side ghosts. I'm like, please don't, because then it's just the Return of the King or whatever it is in Lord of the Rings.
I read a few kind of interesting fan versions of what, you know, the prequels could have been and what the new movies could have been, and they're so much better than what happened, you know. And like I say, I just think that there should have been more of a consistency in the storytelling instead of just giving it to Ryan Johnson. And not that it was his fault, but the bottom line is it's Kathleen Kennedy's fault, because she should have planned it out better. Because she was producing the movies, she's the head honcho at Lucasfilms.
Do you not think maybe Disney said we need a return? We need a return on investment sooner rather than later, so you better get a couple of movies out.
It'll be about demographics as well. They'll be looking at us and going, they don't even go to the cinema.
No. You
know, they'll see it on DVD or they'll download it. The people that go are like 18.
Yeah.
That's who goes. I knew a guy that worked his girlfriend was head of marketing for, I can't remember which film company, and I was talking to her, and she said that, guess how much marketing budget goes to the over 40s percentage? She said 0%. If you're over 40, if you hear about a film, it's an accident. You know, they are marketing for kids because that's who actually goes to the building. And maybe they like that kind of thing. Maybe they just want, I don't know, big explosions.
Yeah.
In the second one, I left the cinema. I went to the toilet and I just thought, I don't really want to go back. So bored of this.
I thought it was terrible.
And I did go back because you're kind of loyal to it, like family.
Yeah.
You know, but I was like, why is this so boring? Because it's visually,
yeah.
No, but it was just boring.
There is some good ideas in it, but generally, it totally is a disservice to the idea of what it was. Threw away every single idea.
Skywalker, though. The Rise of Skywalker's okay.
I thought it was okay.
It's okay. It's not a disaster.
But here's the problem, though: is what can you do? You need to have evil. I mean, the first one, the first trilogy, not the first trilogy, but chronologically the first trilogy. Sidious, or whatever his name is, Palpatine, had been working on this for years. Like, it's been machinations happening in the background, and then from the last movie that we saw to the new movies is something like 20, 30 years, whatever it is. So in that time, the First Order's come up out of the Empire, and then at the end of the movie, there's this other stuff that's all of a sudden, there's all these ships come out of the ground. Why are they parked underground, fully stocked with people? Were they all just sitting there?
Do you know what it is as well? It's like all the things that were taken care of in the original trilogy crop up again, as if the prequels led to that. The original trilogy dealt with it, and Happy Days, Ewoks dancing about and stuff. Disco, here we go. And then the next thing, wait a minute, he didn't deal with it. He wasn't the chosen one.
But how many evil Death Stars do you need to destroy?
What's the second one of the new ones called again?
The Last Jedi.
Oh, Last Jedi. Yeah, I can't even picture. I can't even imagine myself watching it again. Maybe it'll be one of those ones that'll
actually. There's some good bits in it, I must admit. So
there's some great bits in it.
I think Kylo Ren was good.
Kylo Ren's good.
That bit
She's
with
good.
The two of them was good.
I mean, you're right. The actors themselves are great. You know, they're all fantastic. But it's just the characters are not there.
The bit as well where Kylo Ren says, "You come from nothing. You're nobody." I was like, "That's awesome," because I hate this whole "you've got to be part of something." Oh, by the way, you're Palpatine in the third.
No, I hated that. I thought that was total lazy. Like, I can't think anything. Oh, let's do that. That'll be a big twist. That is not a twist. That's just not coming up with an idea. Do you mean
what the Palpatine thing?
The Palpatine thing.
Oh no! In Last Jedi, you're from nothing. You're nobody.
So you preferred the Palpatine explanation?
Oh no, I don't.
I hate the Palpatine.
I don't dig that either. I must admit.
I just didn't want to picture him like having sex with somebody.
But that's the thing. He's not. His son was like a weird clone that could have sex.
I would rather she was the clone. She was a clone, right?
How do you know that?
Created from the Force as a clone.
So do they explain that then? That it's a kind of.
I'll tell you what they don't explain. Yeah. They don't explain why Obi-Wan says, "If you strike me down, you'll be more powerful." I've been waiting for that since 1977.
Yeah.
I'm like, right, what's going to happen? How is he going to be more powerful?
There was supposed to be a big ghost battle. That's what I'm telling you. There's supposed to be this big ghost battle where they're all like,
I've always liked that because it feels like it's a kind of in your memory of me. Like I preferred it just that kind of like Luke Skywalker, you know, hear his voice. I didn't need it to pan out. But
wait a minute then. See when he says that line in the original Star Wars, and that happens at the end. All the voices of, so they all go into her to kill him. Is that right?
And that's everybody's voice, isn't it? That's all the actors are back.
All the Jedi voices, not just everybody.
Has anyone ever, in any of the Star Wars, has anyone else done that thing what Obi-Wan does and just kind of disappears? So it seems to be only him.
Well, Luke did.
Well, okay, when he was sitting in his
died on a rock heroically.
Yeah. He kind of tired himself out, didn't he? He absolutely he was shattered.
Do you know
aye.
that it's
William Shatner.
obviously saw his Zoom bill for the end of the month. 14 trillion credits. All I did was go to that weird planet with the red sand.
Oh no, wait, that yeah. Oh yeah, I probably did do that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that's right. Aye.
oh,
And then there's that
Tatooine.
text message to Tatooine.
I could have done with a lot more of what's his name? I've forgotten his name now.
Finn,
Other one.
Poe,
Poe.
the other one. See,
I could have done a lot more of Poe.
just flip him around.
Aye.
Well, he was better
The
used
problem
in that one than he was in the previous one.
Yeah.
None of them were better used in any of these movies. That's
They
the
were.
problem
A
with
wee
it.
bit more in the last one. A wee bit. At least they got a gag or they
So
got some
bad.
kind of moment.
Let's go to this planet and then we'll find this snake thing and then we'll randomly heal it and then we'll get another clue and then it.
I didn't mind. I honestly think see the bit they did in Rise of Skywalker when Chewie died. See, I think after Last Jedi, I said, see if they kill Chewie in the next one, I'm going to walk out. I don't care how far in it is. And I was that away from walking out of that movie, and then I realised, we're
It
messing
had
with you.
yeah, because it had a little hint of Raiders of the Lost Ark about it.
I did.
With that
Yes,
moment,
the
it just
Marion
the
bit,
way it
yep.
was, yeah, it was framed. I went, no, I think I don't know about that.
Yeah,
You know, the thing that
hate
I
it.
needed a bit of clarity on was, you know, this kind of fused thing they have between them, where they can jump in and out of each other's reality.
I quite like that, actually.
I like that bit, but why could she not, they kind of hunt for these
I call it force
pathways,
time, like FaceTime.
you know, the kind of like, you know, there's little gizmos that told you where the thing was,
Pathfinder.
the Pathfinder thing. He knows where it is. I wish she could have just jumped in his head and went, "Where's that? Where's your Pathfinder, mate? Where?
Yeah.
Sorry, Pathfinder. Oh no, it's over there. You know, that's it. Done. We could be back to being at 127 hours again. It could be like 15 minutes. But it did feel a bit computer gamey. That
Yeah, it was
you've got to go to this world and get this, and then you go to this world and get that.
Yeah.
And also,
you know, people
that
slag
movie,
things, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, computer games are, you know, plot things are. No,
Jody, you and I watched 12 Angry Men. What is a better movie, 12 Angry Men or Rise of Skywalker, whatever the hell it is?
I think computer games that are better plotted than that, because what we're talking about is almost like a platform game.
Yeah.
You go and then you beat the boss, and you go to another one and you beat the bigger boss, and then you go to the big boss.
I would say even more Attack of the Clones was like that.
Aye.
Remember the bit in the droid factory?
Oh god.
That was like a total platform game. It was
seared on my memory.
Shockingly bad.
I couldn't even get
so many
the
bad
animation
in that
of C-3PO in that when suddenly he can.
Yeah, it was so
it's like
bad.
that bit in the Crystal Skull when somebody grabs a vine and swings forward on it.
Yeah.
Like, what planet are you on now?
I keep saying to Sloan, there's a great I've mentioned this many times on the podcast and stuff. Corridor Crew on YouTube. You need to check them out. They do they basically do special effects and 3D animation and stuff, and they've done like adult versions of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and like as in like the original one. So it's like, what would actually happen to these kids if they get stuck in the tube? Augustus Gloop stuck in the tube, and the pressure building explodes, blood like spurting, his eyes are like bulging out his eye. Honestly, you need to watch it. It's so funny. And see when they watch all their clips back, I was actually pissing myself. It was so funny. Really, really good.
Actually, I watched Charlie and the Chocolate Factory the other day there.
My kids went through a phase of that. The original one was their favourite film. They just watched it over and over and over again.
That bit in the tunnel is creepy as shit, isn't it?
It's all quite creepy.
Yeah, it's very creepy. Very creepy.
When was the last time you watched any of the films that dare not speak their name from the Star Wars world?
When did it come out?
I've watched. Well, see, just in keeping with the new ones, I watched a edited version of Last Jedi, and it flips a couple of things. I need to send it to you. It's really good, and it just changes little things, and it makes a massive difference. But the original ones, I don't
Not
think
the
Phantom
original.
Menace is as bad as it was when we first watched it.
Well, isn't it? I really tried with that. I got the DVD and I watched it and really tried. And was kind of keeping a kind of, well, it's not, I think it's all right, you know. And then it just...
The pod race bit's horrible.
No.
Anakin as a kid is horrific.
I can't stand Jar Jar Binks.
But again, I watched an edited version of that. Jar Jar, I watched an edited version of that, and it takes out all the crap. A big thing as well, you know, at the beginning of the movie, Phantom Menace, when it's the Nemoidians, you know, the kind of the aliens at the beginning, are a bit, you know, oh well, what do you think about that then, and all this stuff. What they did in the re-edit version, it's not an official thing, it's a fan thing, but they gave them sort of alien voices and they dubbed it, and it was so much more. It just made much more sense, and they were more menacing in a way, you know, instead of the kind of idiots that they came across.
Remember when we first saw Phantom Menace?
Aye.
We'd had a few drinks, and then when we were in trouble immediately. As the scroll came up, it was like, a recent trade embargo has involved tax credits being bounced over to the following fiscal year, and ambassadors have been sent to... What is it?
Yeah.
What's
that.
a trade embargo?
I remember walking
I don't
out.
understand.
remember we walked out of that film all kind of frightened to go, what the fuck was that all about?
I couldn't even understand the first sentence of the first scroll, but I'm already lost. And I remember we watched a documentary that was like George Lucas with the making of it. And there's a bit George Lucas comes out his office, he holds the script and he says, it's finished. Everybody claps. You want to say, George, it isn't. Get back in. Fix it.
No, there's another one where he's we'll fix that in edit. And Rick McCallum or whatever, the producer's like that. It's too late. We can't run out of time.
I mean, you talked earlier on about setting the mood in the sort of first opening. That's the opening crawl. The opening crawl is basically putting people to sleep and talking about legislations and bills and raising bills in the Senate so they become law. And
ambassadors being sent to placate a trade embargo. It's like, what?
It's like how a bill becomes a law.
Well, have you ever seen the guy that plays Darth Maul?
Nick Park.
No, does the voice.
Peter Serafinowicz.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
He's good.
Have you ever seen his take on it? How it all came about and how he got the part and everything? He's getting interviewed with Richard Herring, right? And it's all talking about how he got the part and how he never got invited to the premiere and stuff like that. It's so funny and so good, and how kind of slightly racist the Jar Jar is and stuff like that. It's brilliant, so funny, really good. It's on YouTube. You get it.
Yes, that was a great discussion, guys. But I think we should end that there. Thank you, Douglas, for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, Douglas.
Yeah, very nice to have, and thanks for the quiz as well.
You're welcome.
Got our juices flowing and gave a certain level of professionalism that we're not used to in this podcast.
Could be a regular feature. Make a quiz feature.
Yeah.
We'd like you to appear again.
Yes, at some point.
Right.
Taps off.
Whenever you're ready. 21 degrees here today.
Look at how burnt I am, by the way.
What happened to you?
He's ripping up decking.
I was.
Okay.
He was. Right. Just like George R. Martin.
Anyway, so if you want to follow us, hit the subscribe button below, the notification bell. You can follow us on Twitter as well at Super Kelly Bros, which is up there. And thanks again for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye.